Okay. Should have come from USF, Brenton Mosher.
Yeah, I don't have anything from Brent yet.
Okay. And we'll find out where that's at.
Okay. Maybe I'll make those two cities my priorities for visits.
I'd appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I need an excuse to get out of the office.
How y'all doing?
Hey, Melissa, how are you?
Good.
Is that JMT, Melissa?
That is JMT, Melissa. That's your friend Craig driving.
Craig.
Hey, Melissa.
Hello, Craig.
My chauffeur today.
Hey, Joe Camara.
Good morning, Melissa. How are you doing?
Hey, Mashid. Hey, Mark.
Good
Hey, Mike.
morning. Good morning,
Hey,
Melissa. Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, happy Easter to everybody, too, in case we get sidetracked here.
Yep. Happy Easter to everybody.
Melissa, did you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you, Mashid?
Good. Good morning. Good morning. I heard you. Thank you.
Hey, Chelsea. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Hey, I just wanted to let you know whenever you get to your the new business, the open forum, I'm just gonna give the control over to you unless you want to send me your PowerPoint, but it's up to you how you want to do that.
I'll run it. That's fine.
Okay.
Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. This is Denise from MAD. I just wanted to let you know I have buzzed into the call.
Thanks, Denise.
Welcome.
All right, Mark, it is 10:01. You want to get started or give people another minute or two?
I get started.
Awesome. All right, want me to run through the roll call?
Yes, please.
All right, so hey, everybody, I'm Melissa Shepard with JMT, a consultant to FDOT District 7. Let's go down the list. Oh, and just to let everybody know, this meeting is being recorded, and if you are not speaking, please mute your phones. All right, so let's just go down the list alphabetically right here. I've got Brian Pissarro.
Here, Brian Pissarro, City of St. Petersburg.
Thank you, sir. Joe Camara.
Joe Camaro, Pinellas County Schools, Safety and Transportation.
Thank you, sir. David Chase.
David Chase, City of Pinellas Park, Public Works.
Thank you. Deputy Scott Pierce.
Deputy Scott Pierce, Pinellas County Sheriff's Department.
Thank you. Chelsea Favreau.
Morning, Chelsea Favreau, Fort Pinellas.
All right, awesome. Don Skelton.
Don Skelton, Way Engineering.
Thank you. George Edmonston and guest.
Justin with Benish. I'm a District 7 safety consultant, and the guest is Craig Allred. He's driving. We're up in Bristol.
Nice. All right, Eric Henry.
Eric Henry, FDOT District 7 Safety Office.
Thank you. Charles Kane.
Good morning, Charles Kane, District 7 Law Enforcement Liaison.
Thank you. Kathy Gatimer.
Hi, Kathy Gatimer with the City of Dunedin Community Development Department.
Thank you. Mashid.
Good morning, Master Dorsey, American Quality Consultants, FDOT Safety Ambassador.
Thank you. Daniel Negersmith.
Sergeant Negersmith with the City of Clearwater Police Department.
Thank you. Ariane Martins.
Ariane Martins for Pinellas.
Thank you. Lori Paleo.
Lori Paleo, JMT.
Thank you. John Ryman.
Good morning, John Riemann, Pinellas County Transportation Planner.
Thank you, sir. Sergeant Klopfer.
Sergeant Klopfer, Pinellas Park Police Department.
Thank you. Mark Easty.
Sergeant Mark Easty, Pinellas County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you. Ms. Terry Nagel.
Good morning, Lieutenant Terry Nagel with St. Petersburg Police Department.
Thank you. Thomas Boyle.
Thomas Boyle, Pinellas Park Police Department.
Thank you. And Mike Zen.
Mike Zen, your District 7 FDOT CTST Program Manager.
Thank you. And then I see we have two callers on the line. If you want to go ahead and announce who you are, please.
Denise McAllister with MAD.
Thank you. Anyone else who I did not call your name?
Joan Rice with Pinellas County Public Works.
Hi, Joan. Thank you. All right. Anybody else? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Melissa. We'll start out with the approval of the March minutes. I know they were sent out, so if we get someone to approve it, then someone to second it, that'd be great.
I'll approve them. Joe Camara.
Thank you, Joe. Someone to second it.
Lieutenant Nagel, I'll second.
Thank you, LT. All righty. We'll move on to committee reports. We'll start with law enforcement. And since you're already on, LT, are you even in the country?
Yes, I'm back, unfortunately, in my office. We don't have a whole lot going on right now. We're continuing the FDOT speed enforcement grant, which we're working on a weekly basis along with the HVE operations. Other than that, Brian is keeping me pretty busy with some complaints throughout the city that our guys are working on. But other than that, it's just business as normal right now.
Perfect. Thank you.
Probably got another one I'll be sending you, Terry.
Okay, we'll take care of it.
All right. Thank you, LT. Pinellas Park, you guys have anything for enforcement from March or anything going on in April?
We did do a St. Patty's Day DUI detail. A total of 111 traffic stops, 63 citations, and 6 DUI arrests. So we also still have both of our grants currently active and being worked on. So.
Perfect. Thank you. Sergeant Negersmith with Clearwater.
How you doing, Mark? We worked with you guys on the Wolf Pack. I think that was pretty successful. We every month lately we've been getting a car show where we're getting a bunch of racers over there by Ford's Garage off of US 19. So we've been dealing with that on I believe it's the second Sunday of every month. So we're working through that. We're still working with the HVE grant. Just to jump ahead into May, we're going to be hosting a FST school and a ride on the 17th through the 19th, and then I believe it's the 21st and the 22nd, or 22nd and 23rd. I don't remember the exact dates, but we have those schools and they're going to be offered through at our agency through IPTM. So if anybody's interested, that's about it for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at, so let's see. Yeah, so the SFST class will be, you said May, right?
May, yeah.
Yeah, May 17th through the 19th, which is the 3-day class. And then the advanced roadside impaired driving enforcement A-Ride is May 22nd to 23rd. I'll talk about that in a minute. Anyone else from law enforcement before I go? Alrighty. So let's see, last month, on the 21st, I was actually in Lake Mary teaching a class for Vin Petty for the Traffic Safety Resource Prosecutor. It's a prosecutor-only class where I taught SFST basics. We actually had, I think, 4 representatives from the 6th Judicial Circuit, which is the state attorneys that prosecute our cases in Pinellas County. On the 25th, we held a multi-agency DUI Wolf Pack from Saturday night into Sunday morning. It resulted in 32 DUI arrests, which is a pretty decent number. Total of 46 charges and 124 citations. We also hosted 2 one-day courses. They're called Middle, Marijuana Impaired Driving Detection for Law Enforcement. That's the intro course, and then they have an advanced middle. Those courses talk about the marijuana impaired driving, obviously, and then the laws regarding the medical marijuana that the state of Florida currently has. The following week, March 27th through the 31st, we also hosted the DUI instructor class, which I believe had about 27 students in it. For this month, we don't have too much going on. There is a conference going on. It's being held in Orlando. It's called REX, or WREX, World Reconstruction Exposition. I actually attended this back in 2016, and I know Dave Nugent from Clearwater was also there. That is a very good crash conference. From my understanding, they only typically hold it once every 10 years. When they held it last in Orlando, it was 2016. So it's about 7 or 8 years since then. It's a week-long class, and it just goes over everything crash-wise. The unique thing about that course is, I want to say Tuesday, the second day, is literally dedicated to crashes. They set up some pretty unique crashes, and then what they do is they end up taking all the data from it, and then on Friday they present all the data from the crashes. So it's a really good course to go to. And I know it's kind of in May. I'll be attending the Florida Impaired Driving Coalition from May 4th through May 5th. That's all I have for enforcement, unless anybody else has anything that just came on. Nope. All right, we'll go on to engineering. Anything from
Mark, Charles keeps raising his hand.
Okay, I can see that. Go ahead, Charles Kane. Sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to go over a couple of things from the LEL program. We finished up doing pushing the traffic safety office grants, which the window is typically open January 1st to February 28th. So any of the agencies in District 7 should have received an email from me letting them know that they were in the top 35% of the highway safety matrix, which means you're in the top 35% of killing and injuring people in crashes in your similar sized category. So those have already gone out, and the safety office is working on the concept papers as a result of anybody who applied for a grant for the next fiscal year. We just closed the window for submission of our Florida Law Enforcement Traffic Safety Challenge, which is very similar to the ELE, except we don't give away any incentives anymore because we're prohibited by the feds to use our grant monies for that. But we do provide statewide recognition. Southern Slowdown will be July 17th through the 22nd this year. We'll be probably working on trying to get a press conference to promote the first day of that on the actual July 17th, on that Monday. I did hear somebody say that they conducted a St. Patrick's Day enforcement activity. Although we don't collect reports for that, we do provide for reporting for the crash awareness and reduction effort through IACP on our website. You can download the PDF and complete the PDF, and when you hit submit, it actually generates a automatic email and sends it to DPS out in Texas. They are the agency that is collecting those reports and forwarding them to IACP. There's a whole bunch of events throughout the course of the year that they promote those operations and also request collection. We don't do it here in Florida. I mean, our FHP does it. We do it, but the LEL program, it's not one of those waves or any of those events that we report, other than some of the events that coincide with the waves that we do report, and they're usually included in that. And Click It or Ticket will be coming up this year. The Click It or Ticket runs from May 15th through June 4th. May 15th, the week of May 15th is the media week, so that's when media begins, paid media begins, and then the actual enforcement period will be May 22nd through June 4th. Sorry, that's all I have. I try to get through it quickly.
Thanks, Charles. The the Southern Slowdown, didn't they do the press conference at the District 7 office last year?
Honestly, I got to get with Janice and find out exactly how she did hers. We did ours in District 4 at Highway Patrol. So I don't want to step on anybody's toes in this district. So I got to find out from Janice who is probably the most likely location for that. But I'm certainly open to suggestions if anybody wants it.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Janice probably later on this week.
Yeah,
Mark,
Charles, it was at FHP headquarters next door here in Tampa last year. So Sergeant Gaskin, I think, hosted that over there.
Yeah. Yeah, and FHP is a big driver of the Southern Slowdown. So more than likely, I'll just go back to Steve and ask if he can host it. And we'll utilize their PA, use him as well.
Perfect, thank you. Alrighty. Engineering, anything from St. Pete?
As Lieutenant Nagel had already mentioned, I had a few requests for speed enforcement that I sent to her. The only thing I can think of good for the group, it's more of a question. I'm curious if this happened elsewhere in Pinellas County. You know, we're kind of through pollen season, but a few weeks ago when we were in the thick of pollen season, we had one particular car wash, a Woody's Wash Shack on 4th Street near 72nd, where we were constantly getting backups on 4th Street. And I'm just curious if there was a similar phenomenon with other car washes in other parts of Pinellas County during pollen season, if anyone saw anything similar.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because, with the no rain, I got severe allergies and I've been getting nosebleeds and I got one right now. So if I keep looking up, that's why. But yes, there is a car wash on Walsingham, and then there's one in Dunedin off of Belcher. And it has been causing traffic backups because it has just been overbooked with cars. So hopefully if we get some rain here in the near future, that should alleviate those lines.
Yeah. That was the only thing I had for the group.
Thank you. Anyone from Pinellas Park?
We have nothing today.
Thank you. Dunedin?
Community development doesn't have anything today. Thank you.
All right. Joan, do you have anything?
Just to reiterate things that are happening with the trail, our trail courtesy campaign is still continuing on. It'll be the rest of this month. Also, we're redoing some of the intersections along the trail, so you'll see pavement markings that are blacked out, but new signage and new pavement markings coming. And the last thing is that we're reconstructing the trail just on the north side of Gibbs High School. So that's all we got.
Thank you, Joan. Tom, you got your hand raised. Did you have some?
Hit the wrong button. Sorry about that.
No worries. Bike ped. Brennan from USF Cutters on. I thought I heard him earlier. All righty. Move on to education. Joe Camara.
Well, so far you guys, I know Mark, you were taking care of Luton with the school. I know you had your guys out there because I know the city manager got involved with that one. And then on Dunedin Middle School, I know the sheriff was up there also enforcing the traffic laws. And we're just we're reorganizing all the arterial stops. We're reducing them down considerably. We're going to see how this program goes. And then I'm waiting for Chelsea. She's going to be making a presentation.
Perfect. Yeah. So that parking issue, apparently some people have parking permits on that street. So a lot of those parked cars were actually people that were illegally parking, but then you add parents on top of it. So it just congests the whole thing. So I know we had our Dunedin CPOs out there. We have 2 Dunedin traffic units and then a regular traffic unit. So I know they've been going out there and then hitting the schools in Dunedin. So it seems to be alleviating the problem somewhat, but just like anything else, you put enforcement there, it'll go away. And then when the enforcement's gone, then people think that, it's back to free for all. So.
But I appreciate your help. Believe me, I really do.
No, absolutely. I even, because I'm the Dunedin sergeant on days out there. So I've even made some trips out there and had to shoo some parents away. So.
Thank you again.
No problem, Joe. Anyone else with education?
Hey, Mark, this is Denise with MAD. We've been really busy, as you guys know, March and April with a lot of prom promise. Kevin Brooks was here. Huge shout out to Shayna Finkel because she actually organized all that. That was all her. Those events where he came in, but we piggybacked off of her out at Palm Harbor. We had a big event. I think between March and April we'll hit about 8 schools with some pretty big kind of prom promise spring break safety events. And the only other thing. We'll, again, we'll be busy like that. Same thing in April. The ride like Matt is coming up, so that's going to be that's a virtual ride. I know the announcement Mike has sent out a bunch of times, so just reminding everyone if they want to sign up May 1st to May 31st. That's a virtual ride. It'll tell you there's some kind of prizes and things you can win along the way, depending on how far you ride. And then the law enforcement recognition, I know you'll continue on with that too, or get to that for us. But I did get another notice that so May 30th they're going to end the nomination. So if anybody wants to nominate somebody for that, definitely please do. And they'll go until right up before midnight on May 30th.
Yeah, thank you, Denise. And that's up for anybody. So for the law enforcement folks on, if you guys don't have the link, you can email me or email Larry Coggins. He'll send you the link. There are multitude of awards, individual awards for dedication to DUI, dedication to drug impaired driving. Then they have agency awards, and it's open to anybody. It's not just law enforcement that can submit the awards. So if anybody is looking for the link, you can reach out to me or Mike Zinn or Larry Coggins. They'll send you the link. It's fairly easy to make a submission. You'll just need the person's name. You can use their agency address. And then there's a little dialogue that you could put in there as to why you're nominating that person for whatever reason. So, I encourage anyone to nominate, whoever they think. And you can look at the list. It'll give you a list of the award and then kind of what they're looking for that specific award. So, and then I know I got to reach out. I think her name's Claudia for the to sign up our team. So for the what is it called again?
The ride like Matt. Yeah, actually she mentioned you yesterday. So yeah.
Yeah, it's called Tour de Florida, I believe.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So, but if you need her contact, let me know. You probably have it, but if not, just let me know. I'll get it.
Yeah, no, I have it. In fact, I'll be emailing her right after I get done with this and talking to Mike and all that stuff. So, all right.
Okay, thank you.
I know we don't. Is there anyone from EMS? Is Shane on the line, Melissa? Do you know? I don't remember hearing her.
No, I do not see her unless she called in.
Nah. Yeah, she was behind getting that presentation out. That guy's a national speaker. And from my understanding, I haven't been to his presentation, but he does a phenomenal job. And she was basically behind that. She also there's another event. Let me just look it up real quick. And it's this month. There we go. Hold on. So there's a safety fair scheduled. So they're going to do a mock crash at Eastlake High's football field, but they're going to have a safety fair afterwards, and that's going to be on April 21st from 8:30 to 9, which would be the mock crash. I guess it's similar to their like prom promise thing. And then the safety fair will follow from 9 to 10 p.m. I know Pinellas County will have our traffic unit out there. We'll have our PR team out there, and then we'll even have a canine out there as well. So if anybody's interested in showing up for that, that will be April 21st. I know it's something she wanted me to. All right. Anything else for committee reports? All righty, we'll move on to old business, the problem locations. Should I have that up here somewhere? All right. So the first one is US 19 between 298th and 297. I know that is something that we're going to continue to enforce. It's still a problem, but having worked day shift for the past month now, I haven't heard of too many crashes that go out there, but unfortunately, when there is one, it's a pretty significant crash. So we will still be out there. We'll keep it on there and conduct enforcement. Do you have anything on that, Mike, at all?
No, it's, it's the slow wheels of getting things going with construction, but it's going to be there for a while. So.
Yep. All right. Number 2 is the school zone on Tampa Road between 19th Street, which is west of US 19. I know our traffic folks, Deputy Loring has been out there doing some enforcement. So we will also keep that on there. Number 3, passing school buses. Again, that's just another problem, which, I spoke about this in the past numerous times. I can't understand how people are that naive that they cannot see this big yellow bus with all the lights, the 4 stop signs, and, they blow past these school buses, whether it be traveling in the same direction, opposite direction. But I know all our law enforcement folks, and I even do it during the day. I end up tailing a school bus, and I probably get about one a day. So unfortunately, it just boils down to enforcement, because a lot of these people, literally their main excuse is I didn't see it, which that's hard to believe. You have anything, Joe, on that? Any significant areas that you're getting more complaints on?
Well, I reached out to Sergeant Casebar from Largo PD. I know they backed away from Belcher Road in Lancaster. Well, when they pulled away from there, the parents that have their kids getting on the bus in the morning, they said, Joe, they literally jump in the middle of the median and go right by. So I sent them an email. I said, Wesley, I said, I know you guys hate hanging out in there, but I'm sorry, but that's what you got. So Belcher and Lancaster in the morning between like 7:30 and 9 o'clock. It's a free-for-all.
Yeah, I'll let Wes know. And I mean, he doesn't have to throw his whole unit. He could just put one guy out there, even probably a motor guy. Because even just the presence there will hopefully alleviate the violations.
Yes, sir.
All
Hey,
right.
Mark. Hey, Mark.
Go ahead.
Ariane had her hand up.
Go ahead.
I didn't want to interrupt you, sorry. But regarding Tampa Road, I just wanted to let you know that I reached out to a school transportation safety coordinator, and she let me know that the Tampa Road is a zone that is currently on a list for review, and it's not going to be improved anytime soon, but they're planning to put at least speed counts to take a closer look at it to change it. But she'll give further updates in the future.
Yeah, perfect. And then if you can send me the counts when they get it, so we can boil down, I mean, the time should be easy. It's when school is starting and when school's letting out. But those traffic counts, for people that don't know, those are the strips that they put in the road. And they've done it for numerous neighborhoods and stuff like that. And believe it or not, for example, a beach community wanted one, and because they said that there were at least 1 or 2 cars speeding down the street. And unfortunately for them, and I'm sure Scott Pierce is listening, he'll appreciate this, but it turns out that the 2 speeders were, one, the neighbor of the complainant, and the second speeder was ironically the wife of the complainant. So we fixed that problem real quick, and I'm sure the complainant had some conversations with his wife and neighbor, considering that they were the violators in that little speed incident that they were having. So, but those are very effective, and it does gather good information and helps us be able to find out, if it's one specific speeder or an overall problem. All right.
Hi, Mark. Hi, this is Liz Graham at Palm Harbor Fire Rescue. I was wondering if we could also put Tampa Road and Westlake on your radar. I was actually involved in a crash on Monday in my department vehicle. Someone hit me, ran the red light. And a couple months back, we had one of our DCs get hit there as well. And then about last month, there was another vehicle crash right at that intersection.
Is it red light running, speeding? Do you know what it is?
It's for mine, it was red light running. And then for the other district chief, it was again red light running for his as well.
Okay.
It's on Tampa Road when they're going eastbound.
Do you have a time you have a time frame?
In the morning, 8 o'clock.
All right. Yeah, Melissa, we'll add that to it, and then I'll send my guys out there, and we'll monitor it and see what we can do.
Okay, thank you.
And you want me to add that to the prime location list, Mark?
Yeah, because I have noticed some crashes going out there. So we can add that one to the list, monitor it, and then we can determine whether to keep it on there or take it off.
Okay, and just to make sure, it's Tampa Road eastbound in the mornings.
Yep, at Westlake, there's a traffic light there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, in fact, when you're coming westbound, the road kind of curves. So if somebody's speeding and they see the yellow light, instead of slowing down, they do what the rest of Floridians do, which is punch the gas and hope they make the light.
And Chelsea has her hand up.
Go ahead, Chelsea.
Hey, I just want to kind of bring it to everyone's attention. There has been a bill filed in the legislature that will allow for the installation of automated enforcement for vehicles that are passing stop school buses. It passed through committee unanimously. It's currently in appropriations, but it doesn't look like there's anything in its way. So just a heads up that may be something coming in the near future.
Is that something similar to the red light cameras?
Yeah, kind of similar to that.
So from my understanding of those, and I would assume they would have to outfit the school buses with whatever cameras that they're going to put on.
Correct. And it would probably be on the shoulders of the school district to fund that. So that's a whole nother conversation, but enabling legislation may be coming.
That was going to be my next question. Who's fitting the bill for that one? But if now, do you know if the legislation has anything in there as far as fines going back to the schools or the school board?
I haven't dug into the details too closely. I know a bill filed last year did lay out how that funding would be split and a portion would go back to the district. I assume that's in there this time, but I haven't read it all the way through.
I would assume they probably use the verbiage when we started doing red light cameras, because the problem that you run into enforcement wise is, well, I wasn't driving, my friend was, and there's some ways legally that the courts have. Well, it's either you can prove who was driving or you end up paying the fine because it was your car. So, Charles, you got your hand up.
Yeah, on a similar line, I believe there are a couple of bills for automated speed enforcement in school zones as well. And I remember reading that at least in those bills, not the passing a school bus, but in those bills, the fines were supposed to be directed back towards the school districts to support crossing guards.
Oh, that would be perfect, because we are definitely in need of them. All right. All right, we'll hit item number 4, which is the light at Tarpon Mall, which I know, talking to Gaskins, it's still under construction. So unless Mike's got an update for that one, it'll probably stay there. All right, Mike must be busy. Item number 5, which is the dreaded Eastlake and Tarpon Woods. It's the delineators. I know those things are expensive. What would probably be decent is putting a traffic, or not a traffic light or a camera, but putting a camera up there and then capturing the tag of these cars that blast these delineators and then send them the bill for it. Again, I don't understand why somebody would ruin the chance to damage their car just because, they didn't. There are two things that happen at that intersection. When it's rush hour, people jockey for position, so they'll ride up the right lane, which turns into a right-only lane. Then they try to switch over at the last minute, unless they get to the delineators, which should make them turn right. And those people just don't understand. You could just make the right, go left, go behind the gas station, and come back out onto Eastlake Road. But instead, they decide to damage their car and then, in turn, damage the delineators. So looks like they're about $80 a piece. I was up there not too long ago, and they looked pretty banged up. So we will keep that on there, and I know we do enforcement up there as well. Then the last one on the list is Starkey Road, which is north of Ulmerton. I know we were going to take the RFB. It's not going to be an RFB. It's going to be a full signal out there. I know it's in the design phase, so it'll probably be a while before we take that one off. Do you have any update on that, Joan?
No update.
All righty. Any,
Oops.
go ahead.
Sorry, guys. I didn't even realize the RFB was here, so I'm gonna take that out of there, Joan. Sorry about that. I took it out of the text, but not in the title, so I'll get that updated.
Yeah, no worries. All righty. Anyone have any questions about the problem locations? Like I said, we'll add that Tampa Road and Westlake. We'll monitor that and see where we go from there.
Thank you
Right.
so much. We appreciate that.
Yep, no problem. All right, next thing we'll move on to is high crash intersections and the fatal map. So looking at the fatal map, I know this was sent to me a couple days ago. It's through March 28th. Looks like pedestrians are our highest number right now, which is at 17. Right now we're at a total of 34 crashes with one double, which brings us to 36. Unfortunately, the same time last year, we were at 34 crashes, but 35 fatals. And we're actually one ahead. But unfortunately, last night, we had some individual run a red light at Curlew and Belcher, and unfortunately killed somebody in that crash. They were criminally charged, and I know we've had a couple of other crashes in the past couple of days as well. Looking at the data on it, is there anything, I see all the ones in yellow. Is there anything that you need from some of these that I can reach out to some folks?
Yeah, a couple of people actually have sent the DH SMV numbers, and I really appreciate that because it's been very helpful. But yes, the CDMS system is still in delay, so that's the only reason why it has this yellow marks, is because they haven't gone to the system yet. But I'm thankful for the law enforcement officers that have sent the numbers.
Yeah, and I can tell you the last 4 there, you're probably going to get those maybe in the next couple of weeks, because some of them won't pull the crash report until they're either get tox back or the MEO results back. So some of those, that's the reason why you don't have the most current ones, because the agencies haven't pulled the actual DHSFV number yet. So, but at least it looks like everything else you need is there, as far as the age, gender of the person, times, and locations. So, all right. Does anyone have any questions about the fatal map? Hopefully we can drive these numbers down, because I know last year we did decrease our fatals, thankfully. Hopefully we can do the same this year.
Hey, Mark, do you want to talk about HSIP?
Yep, I will hit that right after the Pinellas use, trail counter use. So looking at that, again, I know we have some technical issues in some areas, but again, Dunedin always seems to top the numbers for each month. And then Palm Harbor close second, and then Bay Pines. I know St. Pete's counter is having some issues. So once that gets back up and running. And then again, our times, somewhat morning hours, our peaks up until the afternoon. So again, a lot of people getting out there, getting exercise. All righty. Does anyone have any questions about the trail use count? Nope. All righty then. Go ahead, Mashid.
Good morning again. I wanted to let you know that we have currently a couple of requests on materials. When you do have requests for material, please submit as much information as possible. For example, speed studies, crash analysis, location maps. And I wanted to also let you know, if you have any questions about what qualifies for the HSIP grant, please contact me. For example, per FHWA, school zone compliance related equipment, like for example, speed limit flashing signs do not qualify for HSIP funds. But if you have any questions, please ask me. And I also get Bill Reha's information, and I can answer those questions. Also, if you are submitting for any HSIP grants, then that city, county, or entity has to have attended at least 4 CTST meetings. So that's important. And again, if you have any applications, please send it in an email format to me and Bill Reha. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mashid. Mike, you got your hand raised?
Yeah, I got Eric Henry online today, and Eric has been working with the HSIP portal. Eric, you want to go through that real quick with everybody?
Yeah, sure. We're just wrapping up a couple of big changes to the way that we're going to have the application process be going from now on. So it'll be handled through a Microsoft Forms page, which will send the link out to local agencies, whoever wants to apply. It'll be handled that way. We're just this last week, kind of wrapped up how getting that process rolling. So in the coming weeks, I know I've got to set up a meeting with Melissa to talk about some of the messaging and getting that out to the locals and everything. But that's coming right along, and that's right around the corner. So that's a change that's coming soon.
All right. Thank you, Mike and Eric. Anyone have anything on HSIP? All right. Melissa, we can move on to our next presentation with Chelsea from Forward Pinellas.
All right, well, Chelsea, let me throw this over to you, or maybe you can you should be able just to share your screen, Chelsea.
Okay,
let me know if you can.
I'll stop hiding too.
Cool.
All right, so I just have a pretty short presentation to walk through with you all to see if something fun to look at. So this whole presentation comes out of the Forward Pinellas School Transportation Safety Committee, or the STSC. This group has been meeting since I think the early 2000s. It's comprised of elected officials from the school district, all the local governments that have at least one public school within their boundaries, and then technical representatives from any agencies that would like to participate. This committee has looked into a lot of different things, including school zone speed concerns, vehicles passing stop school buses, crossing guards, the whole gamut of public school students, their safety accessing public school facilities. 1 minute. All right, so just some stats as to what we're working with. These are from the school district, 96,000 total students. They currently have 8,874 bus stops countywide. That will be changing. So what we're going to talk about today is hopefully scalable and adaptable to whatever the school district decides to do with their school bus stops. And we start with the premise that all existing bus stops meet minimum safety standards. None of them are inherently unsafe, and always want to throw that one out there. The STSC has met last fall and again about a month ago, and they requested that Forward Pinellas staff work with the local governments to prioritize bus stops for new safety equipment. And so this really stems from the high school students that was killed on Bel Air Road last year. And this call to make bus stops even safer than they currently are. And they want to see something now. They want us to find a way to come up with this criteria so that we can look at bus stops. And then they also wanted us to find a funding source because, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, no one really wants to pay to do anything, but they all wanted to point the fingers. So we're trying to come up with this prioritization criteria. We have drafted that in coordination with the school district in Pinellas County. We're trying to gear the criteria so that these stop locations would be eligible for HSIP funding. And then this is really, really draft what you're going to see today. It's gear. Today, this committee is going to look at it. The STEPS committee is going to look at it. And the TCC, which is the Technical Coordinating Committee of Ford Pinellas, it's engineers and planners from all the local governments throughout Pinellas County. They're going to have a special meeting in a couple of weeks to also dive deep into it. And then it'll be brought back to that policy board, the STSC, in late May for their review. So what we're proposing to do, and this is where we'd really like the input from the people that are out there on the ground, is, you know, how do we prioritize all of these bus stops to come up with maybe like a top 10 that each quarter we could work with the local governments to submit applications for HSIP funding to get these projects done. In order to do that, our initial screen would be obviously crash data, because that is kind of the linchpin in eligibility for HSIP funding. So we would do an initial screen with that. And then any of the bus stops that really kind of percolate to the top based on the crash data, we then need another set of criteria to help rank those, to identify which ones could benefit the most from additional safety improvements above and beyond what's already out there. And this A through H list that's here up on the screen, these are really ones that, you know, we've come up with based on conversations that we've had internally. In the past, the STSC has looked at prioritizing crossing locations for crossing guards, and each of these would have some kind of points attached to them. But generally, this is the criteria that we were looking at. The presence of street lighting, obviously, if it was a bus stop that had children there during the dark hours, more points would be given to an area that does not have street lighting. The presence of marked crosswalks, roadway curvature, documentation of a location where buses that are stopped are being passed on a regular basis. The number of travel lanes or the width of the road could also come into play. Posted speed limits, the characteristics of a sidewalk, and then existing, if there is or is not an existing traffic control device. So really now I'm just hoping to get some feedback from you all. You know, does the criteria on this page seem to capture, you know, what would make a bus stop kind of come to the top in terms of being in need of some additional, or sorry, not in need, benefiting from additional safety improvements? Is there anything that may be missing from this list? Just really looking for feedback from the committee, and then we'll take this to those other committees that I mentioned, and ultimately to the STSC for their approval in late May. So I guess I'll stop there and I'll open it up to others and just kind of get some feedback from you all as to your thoughts on this.
Joe, do you have anything?
Go ahead, Mark.
I was going to say, do you have anything to add to that? I was going to start with you, since you kind of deal with the complaints the most.
Well, Chelsea knows how I am. Number one, when you tell me posted speed limits, that's fine. And Mark knows this. You could put a 35 mile an hour speed limit, 25 mile an hour. People go drive the way they want to drive. Sidewalks, I got stops where the sidewalks are there and the kids stay off in the grass. One of my biggest problems are parents, because they don't educate their children what they need to do. So they have their kids sitting in the car. When the bus shows up, they have them run out of the car to get on the bus, not paying attention to traffic patterns or anything else. Traffic control devices, depends who pays attention to it. My main thing, what I normally do when I set up a stop, curvatures. If I got a curve in the road, that bus stop doesn't go there. I need to have a complete line of sight. Standing area, I always look for standing area. Unfortunately, some of the areas in Pinellas County, they didn't invent sidewalks, so it's all grass. So I got to deal with that. So if I normally give it a 4-foot edge from the street going inside, make sure there's no ditches, drains, or anything like that where there's going to be an accumulation of water, because then the kids will stand there. It's not safe all the way around. You know, the education part for me is the biggest thing, and that has to slide back to parents teaching their children what they need to do. And that's where we come into a brick wall here. So, you know, I know a lot of the people don't like when I open my mouth, but that's just the way it is. If parents educate their kids, we're going to have less incidents. parents don't want to get involved. They take a blind eye to things. So that's me.
Yeah, and just to clarify, we're also hoping to work with the school district to put together some educational videos and other things like that to get to the students and the parents. We're working on that right now. We haven't made a ton of progress just yet. So this will be in addition to that. And, you know, Joe, obviously your thoughts on the curvature of the road and the waiting, like the pad areas to wait totally plays into this. This criteria would just be above and beyond those minimum standards that you guys are already looking at. This would just be for existing bus stops and trying to find out, you know, we have some city council members and county commissioners that want us to put a light pole at every single bus stop, but no one wants to pay for it. So, and the bus stops move. So we're trying to come up with a way to be like, okay, out of these 8,000, you know, what logically should we be doing and what are the most high priority locations for some kind of additional treatment?
Hey, Chelsea, one other thing. When the start of the school year, I went out to a lot of the high schools, and with the help of Pinellas County, they gave me a whole bunch of green reflector rings and other items that would bounce off in the twilight. You know the response I got from the students? That's not fashionable. I'm not wearing it. It's not a matter of safety. It's not a matter of keeping them safe. It's a matter of what they feel is fashionable, what isn't fashionable. You know, you give somebody a glow stick, not doing it. You know, and that's the response you get back. So, I don't know.
Yeah, Joe, I agree with you that it's not cool to have, you know, something that they have to wear. It doesn't matter what color you give them. I agree with you that the students are going to do it. One of the things I think we could probably do, and I don't know if we've done in the past, and maybe FDOT can do it, is hand out tip cards, give the tip cards to the bus drivers. The bus drivers would then hand out to the students to say, hey, here's here's all the safety tips for being safe at a bus stop, and then instruct them, you know, after they read it, to give it to their parents, since we run into that brick wall of them not doing what they should be doing, which is safely educating their kids on how to be safe at a bus stop. Because I've seen these kids play chicken with cars trying to cross the road and so forth. So, you know, maybe tip cards could be something that would be added as, you know, like a publication thing to help with the education portion of it, since again, we run into that brick wall with the parents. Go ahead, Machine.
Chelsea, this is all very exciting. I think crash data is a good place to start. One of the other things that HSIP looks at is eliminating or reducing fatal and incapacitating accidents, crashes. So if you have particular projects and you want to check on that early on, then let us know. Let me know if I can help. Like specific projects, specific locations.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Joan, you also got your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, everybody. I want to piggyback on Joe's comment about the standing area that they're in. Maybe knowing the number of students. I mean, it's any one student's important, but if you've got an area that's got 10 or 12 kids at it, you need to have a large standing area so that they're not really close to the road. So maybe number of students would be a good scoring mechanism. Also, if there's a school zone, I mean, most bus areas probably are not school zones, but I'm still thinking that it might be nice to know if there is a school zone there. And then as to something that might be something that we could actually add at locations would be some sort of reflector poles of some sort, because they're not wanting to pay for the street lighting. Maybe we can put some sort of reflective poles out there, because you don't know where a bus stop is. It's not usually signed in any way, but maybe some sort of reflectivity would help. That's it.
Thanks, Jim.
Well, I know some, in I don't want to say rural areas because it's very few in Pinellas County, but some do have signs that say school bus stop ahead. And even the reflectors, and I agree with you, Joan, and I agree with Joe. Everyone wants the safety, but nobody wants to fit the bill for it. But you know, you could just revert back to last year's tragedy of a student getting killed in a crosswalk, which met all the criteria. So what does it boil down to? You know, maybe we could probably even do some geofencing for cell phones in those specific areas where they'll send a text message out that says, hey, there's a school bus stop coming up on your drive in this area. Mike, is that something that's feasible?
The DOT will not allow me to use apps on the geofencing that would require a text messaging, only because we promote no texting and driving. So most of my geofencing messages goes through other apps, social media apps. And usually you don't get those messaging immediately. It's after you've already passed through the zone.
Okay, I gotcha. John, you got your hand up?
Yeah, we have for Move Pinellas, we have tip cards for crossing a crosswalk, not exactly a bus stop. So that's a good idea. Maybe have specific cards for a bus stop. And Joe, I know we're not going to win the high schoolers with the safety devices. That's not going to happen, right? But I was hoping that we were winning over maybe some of the middle schoolers and younger. But you have more exposure with them. Was the negative negativity towards the devices with middle schoolers or high schoolers?
The only shot you'd have with elementary. Middle schoolers are in a break where they're not sure if they're elementary and then they want to transition into high schools. So they're pretty, don't approach me, leave me alone. You know, if it's not Nike or Adidas or something else, I'm not wearing it, I'm not doing it. That's normally what you get from them. Then middle school is the later on in the morning. So they should be the most visible. High school is the real early, elementary, depending 7 o'clock, 7:30. That's when they're getting picked up. So the middle schools aren't going to oblige you either. They're going to give you.
Joe, unless we can, partner with TikTok or Instagram, and it's a TikTok emblem that's flashing.
Yep, absolutely. That's they wind up they're so in tune. I had one of the girls standing at the stop. She had a phone interface with the earbuds. She had both of them in, and I'm trying to talk to her, and she wouldn't even recognize me. I said I had to put my hand over her phone. I pushed it down, and she looked up. She was startled. I said, "I've been talking to you for the last couple of minutes." Oh, I didn't know. That's exactly what you get. And Joan, as far as what you said with the number of students at a stop, when you have anywhere from 8, 10, or 12 students, they go into their little corners.
Mhm.
They don't want to mingle together. They
No,
want
they
to
don't.
stay in their isolated groups. So
Yep.
they extend. They extend.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, I'll try to get with Nike to get some safety devices, but maybe in the meantime, you got me thinking maybe I'll get some earbuds that'll reflect or something for the high schoolers.
That'll work.
We'll see, but I'll think about it. Thank you.
All right, very good. Thanks, John.
Michelle, did you have another question? Your hand was still up. Nope.
No, I don't. Thank you. Sorry.
No worries. All right. Anyone else have anything to add on this? I mean, looking at the scoring criteria, I mean, that all looks, those are the minimums, Chelsea, as far as the scoring criteria.
Yep. Yeah, that's kind of what we're going to start with. And this isn't final yet, but we're still going to keep workshopping this. We'll come up with actual points, and we'll probably bring it back through for another round of comment before anything moves forward. So I appreciate everyone's feedback. I have a lot of notes here. So thank you guys so much for the time today and your agenda.
Thank you, Chelsea. Anyone have anything else to add for the presentation for bus prioritization and the criteria for it? All righty. So next month we will not have a virtual meeting. We're going to have our yearly mega meeting, which will be May 10th. It'll be in person. Mike, do you want to talk about that a little bit more? It's going to be held in Tampa.
Yeah, well, but George and Craig are sitting here with me, and George has been trying to get your attention. He didn't know he had to raise his hand.
Hey, Mark, if I could just have the floor for a minute, I wanted to talk about new business since we have a lot of law enforcement on with us today. The second round of the Enhanced Law Enforcement Engagement Program will be kicking off. Meetings are next week, the 19th and the 20th. So we have them at Brooksville Operation, Tampa, and Pinellas Ops Centers. Basically, we'll just go over the parameters. We did make some changes. We listened to the agencies last year who participated. We understand your concerns, so we certainly did address some of those issues for the enforcement for this program. So all agencies, if you're new to the traffic sector, make sure you get with your predecessors or send me an email, reach out to Mark, and Mark can give you my contact information as well. But next week we'll meet and the program will kick off May, and we have a lot of new equipment to be earned as part of this program. So we certainly look forward to helping law enforcement address some of these issues. You know what the issues are, whether it's running stop school buses, if it's speeding, red lights, seat belts, whatever the issues are in your agencies, as long as it's on a state road, we're just going to try to get you off the local roads onto state roads. You can certainly earn those points and get some valuable equipment into your hands for your agency to use for future traffic safety programs.
Yeah, thank you, George. It was a good program. I know we benefited from it. I think Largo and I think Pinellas Park did as well. I know we got some good equipment, and it's kind of nice because I know the LELs have gotten their hands tied because of some federal restrictions, but I remember I used to back in the day going to the quarterly meetings and getting a raffle ticket and winning a portable breath test device or a radar or laser, which were beneficial to the agency. And even at the LEL awards, they used to hand out cars and motorcycles and other things. And just because of those federal restrictions, they're unfortunately unable to do that anymore. So it is a very good program, especially for law enforcement.
Well, we're certainly working with Charlie Kane and the LEL program. So all the reporting criteria for click it or ticket, sustained enforcement, all that stuff can still be recorded back. And we ask that you do participate in that for the LEL side, but also you can also use that information. You just can't supplant these operations if you have a speed grant, if you have HVE or any type of grant. So yeah, all those rules, most of you know those already. But certainly moving forward, we can answer any of those questions next week. We look forward to seeing everybody at those meetings as well and getting some feedback and moving forward.
All right. Is there anyone from law enforcement have any questions for George on that? All right. All right. Mike, you want to finish up?
Yeah, just real quick, like on the next month's meeting, it's going to be May 10th. It's going to be in person in Tampa. I think everybody's already gotten the news you can use, RSVP, and register it. It's important to register this. We have a larger facility than we did last year, and it was sold out quick last year, so a lot of people didn't make it that they wanted to. So we do have a larger facility, and we've got a good lineup of speakers and guests coming and some other programs to participate in. Lunch will be served. That's one of the other reasons we need to make sure everybody RSVPs this to make sure we have the right account to provide lunch. I certainly hope that everybody will make it because it was a great show last year. Some of you were there. Mark, you remember it was good that we had, but it was so short that we've expanded it from 9 to 3 this year, and we're probably going to run out of time on that one. So, but looking forward to it.
Am I going to be doing another PowerPoint again like I did last year?
Yes, all the CTST chair people, we're asking them to speak about their own groups and what they've done and accomplishments and issues. If you got problems, bring it up because, Melissa and I will tell you some of the other problems that the CTSTs have had. You might have already had that problem and solved it, and it's a good time to share with that some of the other CTSTs since we're all here to work on Vision Zero.
Yep. Yep. I'll put something together again.
And I need to have a side meeting with you later this morning, Mark.
Yep. All righty. Anyone have any questions on the mega meeting? All righty. So our June 1st meeting will be in person. It will be at the Largo Police Department. I know it says more details to come, and I can't remember if I mentioned this the last time, but one of our state representatives, who I'm actually friends with, Bernie Jakes, I asked him to come, and he has set some time for us. So we will have a VIP person there at that meeting. So that'll be great. He's done a lot of good work so far. Used to be a former prosecutor in the 6th. So I think that'll be a very good in-person meeting in June. All right. I think that is it. Does anybody have any questions before we end today's meeting? All righty. Well, again, thank you guys for attending today, and we'll see some of you guys at the mega meeting, and we'll see you all on June 1st at Largo PD. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.